Kimberly A. Martin. NABJ celebrating 50 years, y'all. The largest organization of journalists of color in the United States. Shout out to the founding president, Chuck Stone, who was a renowned journalist and professor as well. And we're thrilled to be here celebrating with you guys. All right, to the NFL, though. We've got some history taking place in the NFL, in the NFC East in particular. For the first time, 4 black quarterbacks from the same division will be starting in week 1. Of course, that is assuming that everyone stays healthy and there are no injuries. We've got Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, my guy, Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, Dak Prescott of the Cowboys, and Russell Wilson of the Giants. S.A., what do you think about this historic moment? I know that's right. Come on, I heard you.
I mean, it matters. For me, I'm not riveted by it because it's not foreign. There's been black excellence at the position for quite some time. And when you think about the Philadelphia Eagles, you remember when Randall Cunningham was there? When you think about the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl, wasn't that in the nation's capital with Doug Williams?
Shout out to Doug Williams, my guy.
Dak Prescott, 2 playoff victories in 10 years in all, still in all. He's been there for a while. He's been there for a while. He's been there for a while. He's been a starting quarterback and an MVP candidate.
But why?
And an MVP candidate. So he's been the real thing is with the New York Giants, because they ain't had one of those before. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it really, really resonates. But listen, the black quarterback was a storyline and a dilemma for us all for decades. That has long passed us by. There has been excellence from that position. You see quarterbacks getting paid for their excellence who happen to be African American as well. And so for me, I applaud them. I'm thankful for them. I appreciate them. But in the same breath, these are not pioneers any longer. It's been a whole bunch of brothers that's been doing their thing at that position, and I'm proud of all of them.
So at first when I heard the question, I thought, we've seen really talented black quarterbacks, right? But then I thought back to even early in my days as a beat writer and talking to current NFL coaches about how they came up in high school wanting to be quarterbacks. They were quarterbacks, and the minute they hit college, they were told, hey, you're either going to be a receiver, running back, something else. And it made me think, hearing about the NFC East quarterbacks, it made me think about 2 things. For so long, the NFL had sort of denied the fact that, I want to say, the black excellence of it. They felt like the prototypical stand-in-the-pocket quarterback, that had to be the way you needed to win, and that's the only way you can win. And then it reminded me, the NFL is a copycat league. Once we see, oh, he can move around? Oh, you can win games like that? Oh, and he can throw? Oh, that's now an asset. It's not a liability. And that's why, as much as we want to say we've moved past it, I do think I'm glad you're highlighting it, because for so long the NFL didn't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I mean, we know the history of it, but I think it's a great microcosm of how the evolution of this game has transformed not only the minds of people that thought this game was supposed to be only played a certain way. I think it speaks to how we've always been able to force ourselves into areas with our talent that people didn't want to have us in. And I think this is another example as we continue to see this league transform from that position to being able to move around, playing it at a high level cerebrally. Now you have these guys that are taking over franchise and becoming faces of franchises that fought that for so long. So I think it's a big deal. Anytime we see those guys all together, I think it's the 4 starters in the NFC East. That's the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, and obviously we talk about the New York Giants, to your point, Stephen A., that's never been done.
Well, I will say this real quick, because the producers were whispering in my ear. I'm fully aware that Geno Smith and Tyrod Taylor have been quarterbacks for the New York Giants in the past. What I'm saying is, once upon a time, there was a storyline about how, when you saw about African-American quarterbacks, that franchise was like the last of the party. I wasn't trying to imply that they've never had anybody. I'm saying they were the last of the party on that point. And so you don't say that about Philadelphia. You didn't say that about Washington. You didn't say that about Dallas, obviously. But you said that about the New York Giants. You're not saying that anymore. And you're not saying that anymore to anybody, because we recognize now that prejudgment against African-American quarterbacks no longer exists now. because of so many dimensions they bring to the table.
I mean, you talk about, Lamar Jackson, MVPs, the whole bit. The progress of the league has been spectacular in that way. But let's keep moving. We're going to stay in the topic of quarterbacks, y'all, but switching gears just a little bit because we got to talk a little bit about the Steelers and what they got going on the field. Now, they'll take that field for the first time tomorrow in their preseason opener against the Jaguars. However, it will still be a while before we get to see Aaron Rodgers in the black and yellow as he's not expected to play, which we know how Swagger feels about that. All right, so let's listen to Rodgers, though, talking about the possibility of him playing in preseason.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation. I think Mike and I will have that at some point. I don't think it's in the plan for me to play this week, but whatever Mike wants to do, I'm fully on board. If he wants me to go out there and play, I'll play. If not, then I won't.
So the scripted question, y'all, Kmart, and I'm starting with you, is blanketly, should starting quarterbacks play in preseason games? But I want to amend it just a bit. I got to tweak it. Because I feel like this is a unique situation, considering what we talked about prior to the break. Should Aaron Rodgers, in a new organization, given his age, given his history, all those things, should Aaron Rodgers in particular see the field before we get to real action?
I want to see him.
Hold on, I said Kmart, whoever was in the back. Come on.
I want to see, and I'm not looking at him. I'm not going to look at Swagger.
Don't look at him.
I want to see him.
You can look at me, girl. You look beautiful.
I want to see him on the field. You know what? I get it. He's going to be 42 in December. He's 2 years removed from the Achilles. He hadn't been here all offseason. He just showed up when mini camp or training camp started. Like, I want to see him in this office. I want to see him with those players on the field. If something happens, like you can't play football scared, Swagoo. Like you got like.
Oh yeah, you can.
Okay, time out. We know where Swagoo is on this. So I say, where are you on this? In the case of Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to modify and alter my thinking a little bit on this one and say I don't have any problem with Aaron Rodgers sitting down, but it's by default. Did you see the Steelers off season? They sat around and waited for Aaron Rodgers because they didn't have a damn quarterback. Okay, do you understand they didn't have a quarterback? It was literally, you know what? It was Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? And Skylar Thompson, if I remember correctly. No, that cannot happen, okay? So knowing that you had to do everything you could to wait for Aaron Rodgers, I don't give a damn if not only he doesn't play, but you got him in the massage room. You understand? Getting a massage, getting a pedicure, manicure, the whole bit. I don't give a damn what you wrap him in bubble wrap. I don't give a damn because you're that desperate. If you're the Pittsburgh, said desperate times call for desperate measures. And if that means you have to make sure you put this brother in a cocoon, I don't give a damn what you do with him, to make sure that he's ready for week one and you got a quarterback for week one. Their situation is very, very different from anybody else's situation in the National Football League. That brother you protect at all costs until week one.
Now, explain to me how Joe Burrow,
I hope they don't start
T.
slow.
Higgins, and Jamar Chase needs to play in the preseason. But Aaron Rodgers, you're good.
I'm with you.
You're good with him because I understand the age, I understand the injury history, but
that too.
But both of those quarterbacks are vital to their team.
I'm not saying one's not viable. I'm not saying one's not viable or one's more viable than the other. What I'm saying to you is that it's not just age, it's the desperation of the Steelers' situation. It was so damn bad that guess what? You were lucky to get him. You literally had to sit there and wait and pray that he was going to come sign for you with $10 million.
So, okay,
you didn't have another option.
This begs two follow-ups. But real quick, Swagoo, you don't want to see him in the preseason.
Do I have to say anything?
Just making sure.
We know.
Okay, got it. Now, to me, this conversation is heavily predicated on understanding what is a realistic expectation for the Steelers this upcoming season, though.
Yeah.
Because if I am just trying to move the needle to getting back to competent football, I mean, this is an organization that manages to win multiple.
The Steelers are expected to come in third place. The Cleveland Browns are expected to come in the last place. That's the expectation.
Okay, so.
Okay, but we expected that last year, and Mike Tomlin got him to the playoffs.
This is true.
Mike Tomlin, 18 years, never had a record less than 500. Okay, this brother's a Hall of Fame caliber coach. So we know he's the face of the franchise in terms of the culture builders, all of that. You've got to roll with that. Of course, I think the Steelers could defy odds and end up being in second place. They ain't winning the division, but do I think they could be in second place?
Competent quarterback play can put them in a solid situation.
As in the playoffs. I'm
As in
asking
the
playoffs. Okay.
Right? Like that, but that's not an anomaly for this team.
Agreed.
They
Like
always
this-
squeak into the
Yeah,
playoffs somehow,
they went to
but
the playoffs with Duck Hodges.
So,
okay?
okay, come on.
So if you get Aaron Rodgers, I agree, bubble wrap him, all right, and hope that you can have somebody that can manage this offense. Right, we think it every time somebody gets a quarterback, like in New York, when Aaron showed up, we was like, oh, this offense, he throwing for 4,500 yards, and the defense was the reason why we were excited. So here we are again in Pittsburgh. Hopefully he can stay healthy and play at a level enough to make sure that the Pittsburgh Steelers at least make people worry about the problems that they can cause offensively, and they'll have a solid season. This team is never – we don't have conversations about Mike Tomlin and this team not being in the playoffs. And in the league, all you trying to do is get into the tournament and hoping something else can happen. But don't put him out there, just like you shouldn't put Joe Burrow out.
I just need Steven to be consistent. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. We got more Steelers later because I am curious. Oh, fluid. Bringing that back. We ready?
Every situation is different.
We ready? We're going to do more Steelers later because I'm actually curious about the potential impact on a Mike Tomlin in terms of someone who you guys mentioned has established the culture in Pittsburgh. But we're going to take a little bit of pivot coming up in the show as we get ready to take a quick break. Stephen A. has a take about LeBron James.